I'm about to scream about it's over. All right, people. I have been harassed for a while. I stopped doing a UFO show. I lost my show for a while. I supposedly got it back. I spent 3 hours trying to get into it, which is today, which is now. I'm sorry that you had to wait so long. If you stuck around, I'm glad. 20 minutes I was trying to get back into my site after I set it up. This is crazy. I will deal with them after the show. I mean, I had nothing but problems with them for almost 2 months. So let's get with the show. The time I have, I don't know how long I could stay on. I think I'm limited and everything else, but we'll see. Well, I hope you read the title. And it has to do with what's going to happen in the next year with our president, with our country. Well, two things could happen. If Mr. President stays there, we are in trouble, and the world will be in trouble. If he is taken out, we could realign, reset, and rebalance our whole economy, everything, our lifestyle, you name it. I'm sorry, people. This is so hard because I did a show for 7 years with Tina Bird. She's out on her own, I guess. She hasn't gotten back to me in months as well. So I don't know who's playing the games, what's happening, or whatever is going down. But something's going down, people. Now, let me just give this guy some food. Here he is. Let's start with Mr. President, Mr. Trump, when he was president the first time around. I don't know if anybody knows about what really went down when the White House was attacked and everything else, all that, but we'll get into that. The first time Trump became president, 2 months before he was president, and I'm not lying, my life is on the line. I deal with God only, people. I'm not responsible to anybody else, not Mr. Trump or any other person on this planet. All right. 2 years ago, well, let's go back to the beginning. Right before he was elected, in Russia, Mr. Putin was doing a show on TV live, and he said, I want Mr. Trump to tell the world what really happened at 9/11. Sorry about that. Then he said something really bizarre, which very few people even know. He told Trump to tell the world what we're doing in the UFO world with aliens. Well, and then on top of that, he said, we are working with alien races, and 2 of them want to destroy the planet. Now, this is Mr. Putin saying that live on Russian TV about 2 months, between 2.5 and 3 months before Trump was elected the first time. Now, the second part of that, when he met Trump, he was told that by Trump. I mean, he told that to Trump. All right. Now, Mr. Trump never did anything about it, except the day after he met Putin, he said he created the Space Force, which was already there. I mean, from day one, I heard nothing but lies coming from him. All right. I've been in the UFO world all my life, so I'm not going to say Trump has a clue to anything, all right, because he doesn't. And for him to come out and say anything, it would be impossible because he knows nothing. All right. Now they're putting up videos and pictures and everything of Trump going to release UFOs and aliens and all that in a couple of months. I truly doubt it. And if he does, it's going to be a lot of lies because the government put nothing but lies out there. All right. Now, on top of that, he became president. And he was a lot different the first time than he is now. But when he lost the presidency the second time, when he was going to be president, and that's when Lots of other things happening, but that's when the attack on the White House happened. Now, people, I don't know what you listen to, who you listen to, or what you believe, but a few days before that happened, he was on, I saw him on the internet, and he said, people, this is going to be the biggest upheaval. This is going to be the biggest firestorm that the United States has ever seen. And then he said, I want some people to stay home. All right. And he said that live. I mean, he was alive when he said it, supposedly. And then it happened. All right. Now that he has become president the second time, the day one, I don't know if you listen, people. Do you listen to what he says, what people say, what's really going on? Maybe not. Because what he said, I will be a dictator on day one. He said it to the world. Why would he say that? All right. I know people don't like the truth. I do this show to put the truth out there. I've been paying it for a long time. Not that people really care about the truth. They like lies and stories. They believe a lot of the things he said. Well, I go way back. I lived in New Jersey, right across from New York, and we had to listen to Trump's stories all the time. Bankruptcy, this, that, and the other thing, all the things he was doing. Now, something that is important to this whole plan that's going on right now, we're going to bring Epstein into it, but he was friends with Hugh Hefner. He was also friends with Epstein at the same time. But he went to the Playboy Club. All right. I don't know how many times, but when last times he was thrown out of the Playboy Club. He was thrown out of the Playboy Club. Hefner said that I'm friends with you. I'm sorry I put you on the cover of Playboy magazine, and our relationship's over. All right. Hefner's dead, so we can't get any more truth out of that whole story, which it's true, I'm telling you. All right. But now, him and Epstein, at first Trump was saying all the pictures are fake, this is fake, that's fake. That's crazy because there's millions of pictures out there. All right. I started collecting them and I have so many. But Trump, I took pictures. I kept all the pictures of every picture that they showed of him with his daughter when she was growing up, the way he was. I mean, I didn't record all the conversations of people that talked about the way he talked and the way he acted. But the people that have come out since this whole Epstein went down are a little more grown up now. All right. Considering it had to do with children, and I'm not going to get into the grimy, slimy, disgusting details of all that. It's coming out. Now, he just lost the Privacy Act. In other words, the truth is going to come out about the Epstein files. Now, what's going to be added to that is Mr. Musk. Musk was friends with Mr. Trump, and everybody was there. Maxwell, all of them were friends, people. And it wasn't, Trump said he threw him out when he came to his party house. Well, another lie. He was friends with him until he was brought up in the White House, and he goes, he was not my friend. No, he got him his property that lived next to him, right near him, all right? And he's got a beautiful, incredible mansion. And Epstein did have, all right? But the problem is, Epstein was the key pin. All right, Trump was one of the players. There was hundreds of players within that. Now, the list will be coming out, hopefully. Maxwell supposedly put a list out there. I know she wouldn't name Trump because she was hoping Trump would move her out of prison and put her somewhere else or let her go like he did with other people. But that didn't happen. I guess he was afraid that if she was out, she'd have too much freedom and too many people would be on top of her getting the information from her. But in the interim, just recently, she's releasing a lot of the names. Now, the prince in England resigned, pulled out of everything because of the Epstein case. Why would he do that? And they don't talk about that. That's not even mentioned. All the things that are happening, all these people involved with the Epstein case, obviously don't want that case to come out. If Mr. Musk would give a person $1 million to vote for Trump, what do you think he would do to cover up the whole Epstein case and those people? I could go into horrible stories about that, but I'm not going to. Not today. All right. But in the interim, who knows who he paid off? The people that count the votes, how do we know they weren't paid off? Trump will say the Democrats were the ones that were cheating, lying, and all that. But how he let Trump pay people to vote for him? Is that kind of like a legal thing? And now Trump is his right-hand man because Trump gives him all the money he wants. But here's the second part of that. I don't know if you remember, about a year ago, when they were having a dispute, Trump and Musk. Musk said, I'm going to expose you. That lasted, I don't know, that's all that ever came out of it, because within a short period of time, he was already on the board with Trump. All right. So obviously they made friends. But little did Trump know that he could have did it, and if he did, he would expose himself, meaning Mr. Musk would expose himself as well, because he is friends with all of them. Now, the newest case against Trump is blowing the whistle on all of them, even Trump's wife. And she's in trouble. It's in court. We'll see what happens, where she was really living, and everything else is coming out as well. If they lose, every bit of information about Trump and her will be exposed and legally able to read it and find it. All right. So, but in the interim, people that think Trump is incredibly good, I don't know, rich people love him because they get money from him and it's going to help them. Poor people and middle-class people, I do not understand how you could even consider Trump as a good president doing good things. I mean, some people didn't like us paying welfare for people coming into the country. I'm not even so sure I agree with that. I know if I go to another country, they're going to take care of me. But again, where are we going with all the people he's throwing out? Now, they're trying to pass a bill, which is going through, that they have to have a criminal record. All right? And he didn't care if they had a criminal record, if they looked a different color, a different voice, whatever, he would put them on a bandwagon and send them out. And he calls everybody criminals and ex-cons and all those kind of words. Well, why did Trump let how many? 2,400 people out of jail? I mean, Biden did the same thing. We let prisoners out. Why? But here's the thing. The jails, we'll talk about jails real quick because it's important. You know how much money the government makes on jails? They pay anywhere from $80,000 to $150,000 a year per person. Clothes, food, which is what they say. Room storage and all that kind of stuff. Really? But again, they don't get good food. They don't get anything. I mean, they get toys to play with in their sports and a couple things. But again, people, they don't give poor people more than $11,000 in a year. And if they're going to give more money to a prisoner, why? What kind of consciousness do people have? Not much. Should we go into the Constitution? Because basically everybody says the Constitution says this, the Constitution says that. Well, let's stick with a couple things and now we'll go into that. The voting system, and you heard the words, electoral votes. They're not our votes. All right. The electoral vote was created a long time ago so that the government, who was the rich people, could keep control of it. No matter what the poor people wanted, what they did and everything. Poor people weren't even allowed to vote for the longest time. All right. So again, women weren't either. People, do you realize what white men did to our Constitution? They stole half of it from the Native people, outlawed them from it. They were classified as government property. All right, what's government property mean? They're not allowed to use public utilities. The reservations had no power, nothing. They really thought these people would die because of that. They put them on the worst land in the United States, which is basically equal to the amount of golf courses in the United States. That sounds pretty pathetic, considering they were populated the whole United States. There was 50 million native people here. 49 million were killed. Less than 1 million were left. Think about those numbers. Now, Trump supports guns. Why would people support guns in the United States? To defend ourselves from what? You shoot somebody with a gun, you're going to go to court and have to prove this, that, and the other thing, first off. Second of all, 90%, well, it's more than half, and it's almost 90%, people shoot themselves with a gun committing suicide, which is even sad. If they didn't have guns, they wouldn't be able to do that, would they? Then again, shooting children, shooting families, why would anybody want that to be allowed? Some people with guns playing outside with a gun, for what reason? Target practice is one thing, all right? How many people with guns go to target practice every week to shoot the gun? Or the excuse to have a gun, all right? But guns were classified by the government for a reason. The reason is, in those days, the government, the cavalry, all the Civil War people, all those people involved with it, paid white men to kill Native men, women, and children. Obviously, they got more money for killing a man, a little less for a woman, and a little less for a child. But they got paid for all three. And they were the people that scalped the people, not the Native people. Because when they brought the scalps to the cavalry, to Jefferson? Jefferson liked white people. He didn't like Native people. He's the one that said, we have the right to form a militia to defend ourselves against a sick government. All right. He said a lot of things. He became president, but he was the biggest Native American killer next to George Washington. All right. He rode across the whole southern United States killing tribes. So George Washington gave the orders to kill 2 other tribes. I'm not going to go into other things. Maybe you wouldn't understand it anyway about reincarnation and things like that. Might not be a place to put it in with government, but I'm aware of my lifetimes, and I saw it, and it wasn't just pathetic drugs and sick dreams. But I proved a lot of things, a lot of different ways, people. And there's a lot of ways to prove things that happen in your life rather than just saying a dream was real. And we'll go into that, not right this second. I want to keep going with Mr. Trump. All right. The whole thing about Trump and Epstein is going to be taking the world down. What they did is horrible. Who they worked with is horrible. Not just the United States, people. Now, who knew all that? Trump knew it. I don't know how much Musk knew, but he was involved with it. But again, when that all was going down, Epstein was the only person that would have gave all the names up. So obviously when they put him in jail, they put him on suicide watch. Do you know what suicide watch means? They're planning on trying to commit suicide. Well, that's what suicide watch would mean. If a person's going to commit suicide, you put a camera on them and you watch them. And that didn't happen either way. All right, the person that was supposed to be watching, I went to sleep. He should be in jail. All right, all these things, nobody else got blamed or any kind of trouble for that. But Trump actually was involved with that, and so was everybody else relating to Epstein. Their names would have came out if Epstein released those files. So what did they do? Oh, he committed suicide. He hung himself. Hung himself. Really? Did they have videos of it? I mean, all that. It's a lie. I've been in the UFO world all my life. And I'm not going to say the names of people because I don't know the names, but I'll give you a word, 2 letters, NJ, and number 12. It's up to 32, but they have their own army. And they make sure truth doesn't get out about aliens, UFOs, and whatever they don't want out there. All right? I lost 16 friends in 25 years. Taken out. Not normal death, not normal this, that, or the other thing. 2 whole families. All right? My best friend worked for NASA, and he was taken out with his whole family. People, and I know there's a Stephen Greer is one of the biggest fools in the UFO world who goes on blaming the government, saying that the UFOs are government aliens, fake setup, fake everything. It's going to be a fake invasion. They're not real. He keeps changing his stories, and he's one of the biggest liars in the UFO world, biggest storyteller, but he has clout. When I was in the UFO world in 97, all right, he was not big. I mean, his name was out there. He was a he was a doctor. All right. So he said, he worked in hospitals. I had a friend that did all the research on him, trying to find out if he really worked in these hospitals, how long he worked in hospitals. Couldn't find anything on it. But Stephen Greer had a lot of money all of a sudden. And he created his UFO thing. But everything about it is twisted lies. He knows nothing about why aliens are here, what they're doing, or what the government's really doing behind it. So when he goes to Congress and Congress gets involved, Congress is a bunch of old people that have no right being there. Yeah, they have a right collecting their paychecks. Who decided how much money they get paid? You? Me? Should get a pension for the rest of their life? Why? Do you get it? Do I get it? Why should they get it? What do they do more important than you or me? Life is just life. You farm, you grow food. Food is the most important thing on this planet. Gas is not as important. I mean, we learn to use gas more and more, oil and things like that. Trump wants to stick with that. Why? Anything that pertains to money, they use it. Now, the other thing that compounds all this that's going down, the government doesn't talk about anything real. What you do, thank you. But here's the thing, okay, when all this is going down, and the Mr. President claims this, that, and the other thing, like when he closed his school down because he couldn't pay, all those people, the adults that were going to his school, got thrown out of school with no back pay or money back. I mean, all these little things that Trump was doing along the way with everything else he started to do. All right, like I said, his name was always on the front page, on the radio, on TV, all the time. And for what? Nothing good. I don't think he ever did anything good that was really put on it. His picture was on the cover of Playboy magazine, and when he did that, check out his face and what he looked like. But now, like, if you listen to Hefner, how could he get thrown out of the Playboy Club? It was what he did at the Lolita Farm, I call it. All right? And you're going to hear all that. It's coming out, and it's in the files. It'll be, I don't know if they could tell people how bad it really was. Personally, the worst crime on this planet is child abuse. Killing's number 2. I mean, rape and child abuse are number 1. All right. Killing, a person dies, they don't deal with it. A person, a child, a young girl, gets sexually abused, that stays with them the rest of their life, no matter how long they live. And a lot of women can't live with that in their mind. I mean, there's all kinds of mind programming programs and classes and things that try to get their mind to focus on men. Well, I stayed with a medicine woman for 26 years. 99% of the women were women, okay? A few percent were men, including me. But I stayed there the whole time. I worked with them. I learned and they learned that most men cannot be trusted. I mean, we did women's circles. We had weekend trips and we did journeys of the waters, but it was with women most of the time. All right. And I always heard that, oh man, they could never get close to a man. I was one of the first people they could deal with. So that alone showed me how bad it was. And when she started her classes, her name was Oceana Fastwolf. And she started her classes, no matter what kind of workshop it was, whether there's 25 people there, 100 people there, 200 people. The first thing she would say, everybody be honest right now. I want everybody in here to raise their hand if they were abused. Do you know I never went to a workshop without one person raising their hand? All right, that's scary. All right, and all these women are coming to her, and she's teaching about women rights and women. Uh, I learned a lot of things by being around women like that. I mean, it's sad, it's horrible, but again, women don't recover easily from that kind of a situation. If a guy's raped, they usually get over it. I mean, in prison, guess what? It's pretty sad. But to deal with this idea that, and you pull up the numbers online, I'm not going to make them up, the number of children sexually abused. I mean, like 6 out of 10 women, by the time they're 40, will have some sexual abuse in their life. I mean, that's pathetic. But it's not new. It has been here since the beginning of time. Women were never considered love objects. The word love never fit into it. The Ten Commandments doesn't use the word love either, does it? Because women were slaves. Always. There's a lot of words for what they were, but sexual slaves is what they really were. And some of the countries, religions, still abuse women. All right. And, see, Trump is going after the wrong people. Anybody that hurts a woman should be in jail. All right. That's where it should start, not people that have a crime. Homeless people are starving. If they don't get food, they will die. And sure, what do they got to do? They're dirty. They have their clothes ripped up. They can't get a job, can't get anywhere. Steal something. But next to hardcore selling drugs and everything else, who's more dangerous to the planet? In California, when I was living there for a short time, people used to put food on the windows outside on a lot of the houses out there, so the homeless people would come by and take them. Here in Hawaii, we have fruit and vegetables growing everywhere, and people steal them and take them. Come to Hawaii because they think it's going to be free. They don't have to work. They don't have to do anything, which is another lie. But people learn to get over. When I was in California, the people were able, and I'm not making this up, to sleep on the beach all day, and they had to stay up all night, because if they were sleeping on the beach at night, they got arrested. And they got cards. They got 3 ID cards, whatever you want to call them, JD cards, juvenile delinquent, that's what I would call it. But the third card, they go to jail for a night. And they would always keep 2 in their pocket, because if there was a game on or they were really hungry, they would go to sleep that night and get arrested and go to jail and be able to watch the game and everything else. People adapt to where they have to. All right. How does a person get put in this situation? Do you know people that have been? I can go on about that. It's usually a scenario of a death and things like that, thrown out from a relationship. But abuse is the number one reason. All right. Whether it was abuse from their childhood, to carry on into the future. I don't know what Trump didn't have to go to war. His father ran from the war. Musk's father was in the Salvation Army or something, but Musk left his country, so he didn't have to go to war. He went to Canada, and then he came here. Now, Trump's wife left her country. Now, I'm not going to say his name. I can't even pronounce it. But he was in the same vein as Epstein. Both important women. All right? So he brought her here. And a lawyer said that it was had to do with sex, obviously. But it was a job. There's no sex job legal in the United States. Maybe one country, one state, where prostitution in a house is legal. But basically, she came to New York as a model. What kind of modeling did she do? What kind of model did Trump like? What kind of women did he like? Why did he go with so many women? Why did Musk? Now, Musk was involved with that. We'll find out more about that soon. But when we talk about Epstein, and this is a statement, there was an actual TV show on a while ago about his life. He had to have 4 different women a day. Maxwell had to get those women. So Maxwell's worse than Epstein really was in a lot of ways. I'm not talking about child sales and abuse and all those kind of things. If you're being sold and stuff, you're not being voluntarily willing to do anything, hopefully. And then if you don't do what they do what they want to you. It's a horrible scenario, people. Anybody involved with that should be in jail. I'm saying any other president, any other person in government, any other person alive that was friends with Epstein and was involved with him should all be in jail with a life sentence, not to get out in a year, a month, or 6 months, whatever. It's a permanent thing, people, and they don't deserve to walk away. Getting back to the jail situation. Hardcore prisoners should be in a jail where they get fed bread and water until they die, if they're serving a life sentence. Why should we pay $150,000 a year to feed them, clothe them, when they're massive killers and rapists? I'm not talking about people that smoke pot, stole a bag of popcorn or something stupid. They shouldn't be under the same scenario. But reforming people do not reform. People do not change. Well, I know so many people went to jail and they became a priest and got out of jail. Really? And now Christianity kind of makes people believe that your sins can be forgiven. I'm not going to go in. I'm going to be doing religious shows, spiritual shows, words that have no meaning, but what they really should be. But when I talk about that, you're forgiven. Like the Catholics used to go to church, from confession on a Friday and be forgiven for their sins. They never read Revelations. Revelations, people, if you're a Christian, there's 2.6 billion Christians on the planet. Should read Revelations 3 times, and I'll see what John said about sins. The sins that can't be forgiven, which are sins that people do every day and call themselves Christians. People, I studied 14 religions. I went through many. I went through a lot of outside things as well. I became a high priest. I became all that. I learned everything that you need to know on this planet, and it didn't help me become a person in a good relationship. Now, women have to come through their programming from their family, from their friends, which is all basically everything everybody does is go through programming. And nothing good, nothing real, and nothing true. Imagine if the truth was told about anything. I mean, aliens, UFOs, Bigfoot, Sasquatch is the right name, all those kind of things. They're all real, people. And I'm saying that with 100% truth behind it. I stood next to a Bigfoot. I stood next to an alien. I was next to a ship. I can go on and on. It's real. But why are they here? Nobody talks about that. Well, only the good ones. Now, New Age people that are in the UFO world, say the good aliens are going to help us when we're ready. When are we going to be ready? After Trump destroys the planet? People, you listen to lies and lies and more lies. Everything on the internet now is 50-50. Half true, half lies, or 100% lies. Every video you see is created. I mean, the Japanese scientist, Kaiku, all his videos are fake. When they put videos of Musk up, all they're fake. I've been trying to talk to the real Musk for over almost a year and a half. All I got was about 14 fake Musks. And then half of them say you won money and all those kind of things. All right. Famous people, don't go public online. Because, for everybody for every 100 that love you, there's probably somebody that doesn't. Now, Taylor Swift is against President Trump. I just wrote her 2 emails, whether it's really her or not. But she went against Trump. He wanted her to sing, and she said no. All right. She wanted people to vote against Trump, and she went out there and said it. So I consider her one of the few women with balls to do something that women need to do, is fight for their own rights, their own freedom. Trump's not going to give it to you. Not that many presidents care about us as people. As long as they can keep us controlled in a kind of closed-in environment, they don't care. If you care what they do to you, you should. I mean, you don't have the right to do things. I can say this, a good friend of mine was one of the top UFO people, top psychics as well. He predicted 9/11 in detail 1 year before it happened. I'm not lying. We were in New York City in front of hundreds of people when he said exactly what was going to happen. But he was arrested, framed. He was a sovereign citizen. You have the right to become a sovereign citizen, but it's much more dangerous than you think it could be. Because when he went to court, a sovereign citizen is not allowed to have a lawyer, not allowed to speak in court. See where that gets you. They had 150 false charges against him. I was his bodyguard. I was with him a lot. I know 99% of everything they said was a complete lie. He got involved with something that a lot of people lost money, but it really wasn't his fault. But he was a psychic. I told him straight out, why didn't you know? Why did you bring your friends into something that was going to be so horrible? But again, outside of that, he was in jail. They tortured him. They did all kinds of things to him. And then they finally let him out because he was dying. He died Christmas. All right, with my nephew as well. We were going to do a movie on a UFO and an alien. Things happen. Things don't allow things to happen what they don't want to happen. Like I said, MJ12 does a lot, and people don't even believe it's real. Ask everybody in Congress who MJ12 is. They cannot tell you. Now, let's go into something else, how ignorant they are. Nobody in government, all right, talks about what's really going on. The number one thing that people should be aware of underground cities, and they're all over the United States. Jesse Ventura, years ago when he had his TV show, spent 2 years proving all these things that were not real were real. And I don't know if you know what the HARP system is, but he went to the White House and he asked about that. Well, we invented, but we don't know what we're going to do with it. But it's the most deadliest weapon on the planet right now. All right, HAARP, 2 A's. And it's in Alaska, it's in Hawaii, and there's 2 other more I'm not going to say. But the Russia and China are trying to copy them and stuff. But basically, it has to do with chemtrails that few people will talk about. Now, Michael Murphy went around the world to every country trying to ask them and tell them about chemtrails. Nobody would talk to him. He put 2 movies out. He gave the movies out for free, and they're still up online. What in the world are they spraying, and why are they spraying? All right, and they're old, but they are today, and they got more incredible things going into chemtrails that they're spraying over you. But I can tell you this, nothing good. Why? Do you know anything about population depletion? Why do they send young kids into the army to go out and kill people? Why would you send a 17-year-old child to go out and kill people? You know what it does to the rest of their life? But again, how many children were killed? It was called population depletion. All right, and we'll see what happens if we go to war. What if Trump's president? What he's going to do? Who he's going to put in the battlefield? But when we went to war against Vietnam, we were fighting children. Not we. They were fighting children, 14 years old, killing children with guns. You know, guns are always have been, since they've been created, a danger to mankind. Fist fighting was a lot safer. Most people didn't kill each other when they were fist fighting. People, do you listen to what you hear? Do you put it through this brain? And do you analyze it? Probably not. Oh, they said it. It's true. Whatever they said, it's true. It's real. My mom said that. My dad said that. So what? Do they know anything about God? Well, oh, Jesus will save us. Save you from what? A sick person going into a school blasting children out? They could afford to put a machine in every school for guns and weapons and things like that. I was in a school in Ohio. Oh, sorry, Oregon, not Ohio. And they brought a dog in once a month, never said what day they were going to bring in, and they searched the lockers for drugs and things. All right? Now, there were 2 schools. I was working in one. I wanted to work into the native school, but it was full. I had to work in the other school. And they had one class with all the native people in one class saying they're disabled. The word was retarded at the time as well. Again, children from whatever young age to whatever old age were in the same class. I was taking care of the school, working in the yards, the classes and cleaning work and things like that, maintenance. But I spoke to the principal a couple times. And he said, yeah, I don't know. We do it. We shouldn't be, but we do. I said, you can't change it. You can't stop it. Put them in a regular class. Well, we can't go that far. Why? Can you prove they're retarded? Can you prove that they don't know what they're doing, or they're slower than people? I mean, if you don't teach anybody anything, obviously they're not going to be smarter than somebody else. But I quit the school. I did a show. I was into magic as well. I did a magic show, and I lectured to the native people. And the principal let me do that. I told him, look, they don't care about you. And you're not going to be going as far as you should be, listening to your teachers and staying in school. But you really need to move forward somehow, get people to help you learn and things and all that. But the problem is the United Nations doesn't care about Native people. Trump doesn't care about Native people. But I'll tell you this, Obama did care. He spent lots of money helping Native nations. At the end of his career, being president, the last week, he put a video up online, people. I think every white person and Spanish person should be forced to see it. He explains all the details, what they did to the Native people. They were in prison camps until 2024. The children were. All right. And then when women were given the right to vote, when the black people were given the right to vote, I mean, all that went down so much later. But the whole time, these children were put in Catholic prison camps. And if they didn't do what they were supposed to, they were killed. First, they cut their hair off and everything else. And they brought these children back to their families at 16. They would get them drunk on liquor and get them become drinkers and then bring them back home. The whole scenario, what white man did to the Native people, and I could go into the details how gory Wounded Knee was, but cavalry broke into a village which was only women and children and slaughtered them all and raped half of them. I studied in the United States. I danced for 30 years all over the United States. So I met a lot of the elders that would tell the truth. I knew the oldest Hopi elder, who's now dead. They came out to meet the white man. And then the white man was trying to get them to fight with the Apache people to kill each other. The stories are horrible. There's no good stories in our history. The pyramids weren't built in a good story. Everything you hear, man is trying to make it sound like a good thing. Oh, it was a good thing. Native people say they work with the star beings, which was the gray race. They never helped them either. But the races that were here never helped the humans ever either. Whatever you hear, people get abducted, they get programmed, and then they come out with a story. Government programs people to think they were abducted as well. But that's not as common as a real person getting abducted by a real alien. I did a show for 7 years with a woman that was abducted half of her life and had more proof than any other person out there. And, she was getting threatened near the end of her. Maybe that's why she left the show, why it ended and all that. But like I said, I lost a lot of my friends because they were exposing the truth. The most important UFO stories never became real to the general public. I mean, I'm sure you heard of Roswell, Area 51, and things like that. The first couple that came out talking about being abducted was a black and white couple. And they were already being persecuted. And for them to come out and say that just brought more negativity down on them. But they did. People, we're in a trouble zone. If you know anything about a union, how the union was created, watch the movie Fist. Sylvester Stallone was in it. But it showed you how a union was created. It wasn't by people saying, we love everybody, we want to become a union person. No. It calls for action. And usually action where you have to put your life on the line. You don't stop. Well, I could go on and on with this. But I want to do a show soon because I want to see what happens. We got 3 days for all these things to pop out about what's happening with the Epstein files and what Trump's going to do. They're going to go to court for a lot of different things. There's so many cases against him right now. And what's going to happen? All right, they're losing. Trump's finally losing cases. He just can't fire everybody. I'll fire Congress. I'll fire House of Representatives. I'll fire every lawyer. He can't fire the world in the United States anyway. But karma, the last word I'll use to you people, is the word karma. It's called cause and effect. What you do comes back to you. It doesn't have to come back today, tomorrow. I mean, most people don't know much about reincarnation and death and all those kind of words. But karma will stay with you. Mass murderers don't escape by dying. All right? Rapists don't escape by dying. People that are rapists don't go to church and say, forgive me, and get forgiven. All right? They may think they do, but when you die, it's a totally different ballgame. And very few people can talk about the truth behind that as well. But the government will not talk about these underground cities. They will not talk about anything about aliens. They will not talk about what's really going on. Denver Airport, people, do all your research. You'll find out that is the home base of the New World Order. In steel in the floor, when it was first rebuilt, in steel, where you got your tickets, about 35, 40 feet wide in a circle was steel, and it said Air Force New World Order. And then it had a glass trophy track there with all the president's pictures and everything else. But on the second floor, which was a little plaque that said U.S. New World Order, should still be there. But they had these murals of the death of 4 different races: Chinese, Native, Black, I miss color, the Jewish people. But the Jewish people run the world. So, it's contradictory right there. But when Denver Airport was built, I'm not going to go into it. Do the facts. Do the research. What's under there? The underground cities, the underground, where it goes and all that. What they just found recently. What they found up in the Antarctica. What they are finding, and they will not tell the world. Well, if you do a little research, not that everything you hear about everything is real or true, because it isn't. But there's always a truth somewhere within a story. You ever hear when you take 30 people, put them in a circle, you tell something, a sentence, and let them pass it around the room, and it comes back a totally different story? Well, even the people, they don't even know two of them weren't even disciples. They were evangelists. All right. When Moses wrote his stories, he wrote a quarter of the Bible. Where did he get his truth from? Supposedly he lived, what, 1,000 years old? Did he stop it? Hey. So people, I don't know how this show's going to go. I don't know how I got on it this way because everything's bizarre. It took me all morning to get the show set up and get into it. And it's not even under my real name, title, my name web page and all that. So, and this is the free version. I'm supposed to have the deluxe version, which I'm paying for. I did pay for it, and then they raised it. That's why I was going to give it up. But it's crazy what's going on right now. And more people, more companies are starting to become afraid of loaning out money. All right, giving away things for cheaper and things like that. But I realize the taxes on things are not real. It's man-made. Native people bartered, and people that bartered didn't have to have money. They bartered with what they had to trade with. And I mean, it was a good way. It lasted for a while. But when the white man came in, everything changed because when the English, British, and the Spanish came in, it was about gold. And it's still about gold. Gold is the most precious thing, and it was all through history. Check that out. Why? Just for metal. Diamonds are high, but they go up and down. They're not as valuable all the time. But with that, people, I'm going to say goodbye. All right. If you send this to your friends, tell them there's a break in the beginning. If they can fast forward it, if they can. I'm sorry about that. I've got to deal with the company again for 2 months now. All right. So, peace, love, compassion, whatever in your life. Don't stop until you get it. Don't settle for lies. Don't listen to everybody. Don't listen to nobody. What you feel inside should rely on much more than anybody else what they tell you. Calling from the big island of Hawaii. Till next time.